how I executed this trade, right? This is one of the most powerful things that I think I've developed at Price Action Labs, right? So it's essentially a 4-step system to help you execute. So this is where you have to be, very kind of, you need to keep your eye, you need to have your kind of eyes on the pulse here. So first 5 minutes, we let the first 5 minutes pass. So this is now 9:35, 9:36. Okay. So what we're seeing now, let's kind of break this down in real time. So if we go back to our price action here, let's quickly break this down. So here we go. So let's break this down here. So what do we see here? Right? What do we see here? So we can see here these candles here. So 1, 2, 3. So this is 9:30, 9:31. We see the market pulsing higher, right? We see the market expanding higher. Now, what's going on here is what we can see is a lot of negative delta here. So red delta, and even here red delta. This candle here is very interesting, this green candle. All right, let's break down this green candle. So this green candle here, 9:31, is this green candle here. What do we see? This is my favorite part of order flow, and it fascinates me to kind of break this down every time. We see a green candle, right? This is a green candle. But when we look inside the green candle, we see a ton of aggressive selling, right? So when you learn how to read the price action, you can actually spot a strong move or a real move from a fake move. And this is how you do it. This here is a green candle, which obviously means higher prices. But what's really going on is there are sellers here which are trapped, right? These are trapped sellers. So the trap framework, this is how it works. So we're looking for trader reactions at price. And specifically, you want to look at the red delta here. So this is kind of what we're looking at. So I'm going to try and make this very, very simple for people, right? Because people often say I overcomplicate things. So I want to kind of break it down. What do you see here? So this number here is so red, I can't even read it. I'm going to say that's 440 for 200. Let's just say 440. Let me just write that down. 440 for 200. Okay, that's what it says here. So what does this mean? What does this 440 for 200 actually mean? So it means there's 440 aggressive sellers and there's only 200 aggressive buyers. And so when you see that and you see this big move to the upside, what it basically means is there is all these sellers here which failed. That's why price moved higher, right? So what's going on here is that there are actually passive buyers in this level, this key level that we defined 15 minutes ago. There are passive buyers stepping here. So buyers are in control at this level. This means you want to be buying inside of this key level. Okay, awesome. So if you can understand that, you're probably ahead of 90% of traders, or even 100% of traders, because most people don't even trade with order flow. Okay, now this here, super, super important. So what I'm going to break down now is the Bolt breakout blueprint. So I want you to understand the 4-step lower time frame process that I use to execute. It doesn't require indicators. It doesn't require fancy candle patterns. It doesn't need engulfing candles or indicators or EMAs or lines or any of these things. It doesn't need any of these things. All it needs is a break, a retest, an absorption, and then you pull the trigger. So let's break this down. It needs a break. It needs an optimal retest, and I'll go over what that means. It needs a liquidity absorption, and then you need to pull the trigger. These are the 4 steps that we follow. This is the Bolt breakout blueprint. And so how do we do this? So first, I will look for a break outside of my level. And so how I find a break is I will look for the first body that I see outside of the zone. So for me, it would be either this one or this one. Now, if I'm being honest, I actually chose this one because for me, I prefer seeing a bullish body. Now, I do not base any of my trades and entries specifically off candle bodies. I do not care how candles look. I'm not interested in candles. I'm interested in the price action. Those are not candles. Candles are just pictures. I'm interested in the price action inside of the zone that will give me confirmation. Okay? Now, once I've gone through that, or once I've kind of done that, I will then look for an optimal retest. And for me, an optimal retest has to have at least 2 things, right? It needs to have at least 2 candles coming into the zone. So for me, it's actually 1, 2, 3. So this is good. And price needs to cover at least 50% of the level. So what that means is this was actually 95. This was 73.95. Mind my handwriting here. And this was 90. down here. So what you can see is this price came all the way down to 92. So this is more than halfway. So that ticks that box as well. So that's how I find an optimal retest, right? I want to see price coming in at least 50% of the level, and I want to see at least 2 candles. That is an optimal retest. After I've seen an optimal retest, I want to see what's going on inside the level. So we've established that here. I wanted to know what was going on. And this is what's most interesting. This here is a classic rejection. The traders call this all sorts of things, engulfing this, hammer, candle, whatever you want to call it. But in reality, all it is, this candle here, is a liquidity absorption, right? Let's break that down. What was going on here, right? This is a classic example of liquidity being absorbed. What was going on here, right? So 615 for 364, 444 for 252, right? All this aggressive selling over here, right? All of this aggressive selling here, right? Were they successful?